Hi guys, what we're going to do today is how to restring a Fender style guitar for novices. With the it's got the tremolo type bridge on it. A lot of guitars come with this floating bridge system, and yeah, with the 6-in-line tuners. And we're going to go over an easy way to do it, in my opinion, probably the best way if you're new. So it's the type with the tremolo arm. Many guitars come with this type of system. A lot of inexpensive guitars, a lot of really expensive guitars still use this system. So give me a moment here to get set up and we'll get started. Okay, first things first, we need a few tools. So we need a decent pair of cutters. You're going to want the trem arm, but we won't need that to last, but keep it handy. I've got a little socket here that I use for tightening up the tuners, which I normally do when I change strings anyway, so it's not a necessity, but it's a nice to know thing. And then of course we have a set of strings. These ones are D'Addario 10 gauge strings. Whatever gauge of strings you want are fine, just do a little homework and pick them. But Strat style guitars, the Strats generally ship with 9 gauge, so that might be what you have on it, but that's totally your own preference. So just if you're unsure, just check with the manufacturer's website for your guitar. It'll tell you. And last but not least, can of club soda, because I like club soda. That's it. Okay, hang on a second, we'll get started. Alrighty, we're about set to go. So what we're going to do is set the guitar up in a manner that will not disturb the setup. Okay, we're assuming for here that your setup is pretty good, so you don't have the neck with any wicked bows in it like this or like this. The intonation's good, the string height, the action sometimes it's called, is comfortable for you, so we don't want to change any of that. We just want it to take the old strings off and put the new strings on. So I found that the best way to do that without disturbing the setup is one string at a time. And the reason for that is if you look at the bridge on a floating trem, you'll see this gap here. The reason that gap is there is so that when you're using the trem, you go back a little bit and you go forward a little bit. So hence the name floating trem. You don't want to disturb that gap, you want that there. That's the way it's designed to work. So if you were to take all the strings off this guitar, that bridge would go bang right down to the body, and then you'll be fighting against the trem springs here, which are holding the spring back. So you get all that tension that you have to balance with the strings. So when you put your new strings on and you start tuning, you'll tune this one to pitch. By the time you get to this one's out of pitch again. So it's going to be a constant tuning to get this bridge to come back up where we want it to. It takes forever and it's more trouble than it's worth. So we do one string at a time and you'll get less of that. Maybe a little bit, but not much. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so what we do is we loosen off the string a couple of turns. Just take some of the tension off it. I've already done the big E string, forgot to turn the camera on, sorry. But you didn't miss anything, so we just did that. And then we cut the string about here. Leave them 3 or 4 inches. And then we take the thing off, the old string, roll it up, put it away. And then we take this bit here and push it through. And you see it'll come out the back. Just pull it out. Okay, now I've got 2 strings off here. I should have 1. This one should still be here because I messed up. I showed you this one. So pretend that it's got 5 strings still on it. Now I'll get this out of there too. Now what I'll do is I will take the big E, which is right here, with the brass end on it, and I will fish it through. You see here, and that goes right through like that. and then we pull it right the way through until you feel the ball end is seated in the block. There you go. Okay, we like to make sure that the string has gone through this slot and not in between. Sometimes this will flop around a bit. You see it's quite loose when it's there's no tension on it. So sometimes that'll flimmer out of the way and the string will get pushed through in between the saddles. You don't want that. So just take a glance and make sure that's in the right spot. Okay, and now we're going to go down to the other end. Hang on. Alrighty. Now we've got the string in the saddle at the other end. We come up, keeping it nice and straight. And one thing we do is we take our little socket here that I showed you, and we'll put it on and give it a little twist. We just want to make sure that these nuts here are snug. Don't crank them. You don't want to break the headstock. Just make sure they're snug, because sometimes these will work themselves loose, and this washer here will start buzzing. It'll drive you insane because you can't tell where the noise is coming from. So whenever I change my strings, I always check these just for that reason. It only takes a sec with the socket. So then what we do is put on our specs, because you can't see. There we go. And we line the string up through the nut. We have the hole in the string in the post lined up this way. So when you take the string off, the hole could be anywhere. Turn it so that the hole is in line with the fingerboard. That makes it easier to find. Because what we're going to do is we're going to wind these in an easier way than most places will tell you. What the standard doctrine is, you take the string and you shove it through the hole. Alright, you back it off a little bit. You bend it up, and then you just do a crank, 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 and it'll take up the slack. You don't need to do that. What we do is put the string in the slot. You got the hole already lined up, and keeping the tension on the string, we go around 1.5 times. Keeping the tension on the string. You can use your fingers here. Then you take the end, you push it through the hole. Pull it tight, bend it up, and there you go. Now, all you gotta do is this to bring it up to tension. A few turns, and you're there. Okay? Some people will tell you to leave this on in case the string's a problem. You gotta take it off again. Yeah, that's not bad, but you don't need this much. That thing will put your eye out. I know, because I'm almost done it. It hurts like hell. So just snip it off about there. That's all you need. Get that out of the way. And then there you go. So I'm going to put the next string on, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do this one. Okay, got these ones on. One thing you should do after you put each string on and you got it secured down and tuned up to pitch, and I forgot to mention you're going to need a tuner as well. I got a nice cord rack tuner here that I use, but there's plenty of tuners that you can download as an app on your phone for free. I got one on my phone. It works great. You just put it in front of your amplifier, switch it on, and then tune away, and it will tune for you. So yeah, look at those before you go out and blow tons of money on fancy tuners. So anyway, yeah, so you need a tuner. The other thing too is when you put your strings on, you tune them up to pitch, you have to give them a little stretch. Just to stretch them in a bit. So just hook your fingers under there like that, take your thumbs and do one of these. And it will drop in pitch. And we just bring it up. There we go. Don't have to get it bang on when you're restringing. Just get it in the ballpark because you're going to go through it and restring it again anyway. So we'll do the same here with this one. You don't have to yank on them or anything, go swinging off them like Tarzan. Just give them a quick tug. Okay, so now we're going to do D. So, same thing. We will untune it a couple of turns, give it a cut, rid of the round bit out of the way. Wind it up. And tie it off. So now you can ditch that. Push this out. Here. Now the reason I mentioned before to hang on to the offcut from the big E, like this one here, is sometimes what will happen is these balls will get stuck in the block, and you can push and push and push with the string, but it won't come out. So you just take that, put it in a hole, and give it a load, and it'll knock it right out. So hang on to that until you're done. Good little tip. Now we want our next string. So our D string is, well, let's just check our thing. Here, our D string, 4th string is black. It says right there. So we just look for the black one. And lo and behold, here's the black one. So we get those unwound. Take the black string, ka-ding, ka-ding, and flip her up on her side. Okay, so we want this hole here. Alright, we carefully work it in and pull it all the way through, making sure that the ball end is seated properly in the block. And put her back down, make sure that it is in the slot properly. That's cool. And hang on, I'll go down to the other. Okay, down the other end, take our socket, give it a little twist, just make sure it's snug. Then we take our string, okay, again, make sure it's snug in the block, the trim block. Take the string, lay it through the nut. Now we have string trees here. Okay, so we have something else to worry about. Oh yeah, I forgot. You got to turn the tuner till it's in line with the fingerboard, just so you know where the hole is when you put the string through. Alright, so let's put it in the nut, and then we take the string, we put it under the string tree, like so. Now sometimes Strats will have one tree, sometimes they have two, sometimes it will be just like a little piece of bent metal with a couple of bulges for the strings. These ones are roller ones. I've replaced these with these roller ones just because they work better. But string trees come in all different shapes and sizes, but they all do pretty much the same thing. So when you have a string tree, you put the string under the tree, and then you wrap it around the tuner 1.5 times, and then same as before, you just push it through. You pull it all the way till it's snug, bend it up, and then we tune it, bring it up to pitch. So we're going to bring this up to a D. There she's a D, and we give it our stretch. Okay, we put it back down where it goes here. Okay, we give it our stretch. Bring it up to pitch again. D. Now, because this string has gone back on, it's brought up to pitch, these ones are going to go a little flat. So we bring these up too. That's actually pretty good. Okay, so when you replace the string, go back and retune the ones before. That keeps the proper string tension on the bridge at all times. So that's about it. And you just continue on the way down. Keep retuning after you change each string. And then when you're done that, you've got all your strings in place. Then what we will do is take the trem arm and install the trem arm, and then just do a couple of these. What that'll do is it'll help to make sure the strings are seated properly in the bridge, and seat it properly in the nut so that you don't go all trouble getting in tune. Start rocking out, first time you hit the whammy bar, it goes out. So that's a little something I like to do, and I find it helps. So there you have it. That's pretty much how you restring a Stratocaster, one string at a time, for the novice. And you do it that way, you'll never have any problems. Any questions on that, let me know. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, before I forget, when you wind the strings around the posts, the big strings, I do 1.5. Then when you get up to the thinner strings, the top 3, do 2.5. So that they're less likely to slide out when you bend strings or whatever. So 1.5 winds here, 2.5 winds here. Okay, thanks for watching.